Alright, hello, we are back with YDYD Obsidian Season 2. We have most of our server logged in. We have a few more people trying to log on with some issues with name changes in the whitelist, but quite the increase this time around. I thought we'd have less floating towers with the flat area. But yeah, I think we have everyone from last time. We have quite a few new people. We have to contend with the new environment of the Badlands Mesa, so I thought it'd be a little more fun, and also, again, I had hoped that we would have the flat surface for the towers to spawn on. Clearly that did not really work in full intent, but I mean, close enough, whatever. Alright, well. Oh god. Where is our photographer? There we go. I asked them if they wanted to be put in spectator mode or if they want to be killed the personal way, and they chose personal, so we're all gonna go into ritual sacrifice. Got pistachio on wood. Got more wood up there, cool. Just use my magical powers. But yeah, so we are back to hardcore. I think Chasing Mars found himself an ancient city. Just gonna wait on the death prompt for the warden or some such. I'm sure it's gonna be any minute now, but yeah, so we are back at it. The Datapack's pretty much the same style again from last year, I would say. With a little twist and turn, I would say, that may or may not be too much. We'll see on that for sure, but will be interesting to say the least. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So last year, actually last year was kind of the official death of Achievement Hunter in regards to, like, Rooster Teeth died. What am I doing? Jesus. Or no, AH died, or it was closed or whatever, and then Rooster Teeth died shortly after, so I built a little gravesite to memorialize the event, and then, a few days ago from this recording, one Jeremy Dooley announces, oh yeah, we're gonna bring back Achievement Hunter in, I mean, no official name for, like, what his intent is really, but at the very least it's very much like AWOL finally kind of unifying, I would say. I'm gonna starve to death. So that's nice. I mean, that was a very fun stream to watch. It was very nostalgic, obviously. It was a very nostalgic stream to watch. It was very fun to watch. It just felt nice to kind of get back into things like this. But my thought is, since he did shopping list, now stopping list, as a kind of throwback, he mentioned Kings, he mentioned the fake AH crew in GTA 6 or whatever GT, I guess. But my concern stems from, okay, is he gonna go for YDYD? I mean, why wouldn't he? But like, he was aware, he gave a direct shout out, and I guess, yeah, direct shout out, he didn't really name it, but he posted a video on Twitter, he talked about it on a stream last year about kind of giving attention to YDYD Obsidian when it was still an AU, or not, God, how long ago was that? Bottom line, he gave attention to YDYD Obsidian in whatever form that was. I think that was, no, that was 2 years ago, holy shit. But he gave attention to it, he gave a shout out, so he at one point was at least aware of the AU, right? So what happens? And for the record, I want to say for the record, he is on the whitelist for this server. I'm not gonna obviously spam the guy because that'd be insane, but like, if he were to, he has full ability to join the server. So if/when he decides to bring back You Dead for AWOL, right? What do we do? What do I do? Where it's like, well, if he wants to go You Dead Obsidian route, I'm not gonna do anything about it. Granted, because that'd be insane. But it's an option. I'm not gonna say no to that, clearly. That'd be wild. Yeah, so I am very curious as to what point, when/if he decides to bring back You Dead to AWOL. What that might mean, I don't know. I can't really speak to it. I am not involved in any regards for that. It would be very funny if You Dead Obsidian finally became canon. That I would find that hilarious at this point, between kind of the fake out death to the fake out death of AH to now the resurrection of AH in a way. But I mean, it's possible now. It's very much an option. So I don't know, we will just see, I guess. Again, he is not, I have no reason to expect him to reach out to us at all. He has no reason to. That's not something that I'm gonna force on any level, because that, again, would be insane. So, my sword. Thank you. So, we will see if anything happens. That would be cool. I am gonna not force anything to happen. But I'm not opposed to it happening. So, I will speak that into existence as best I can, and that will be that, really. Wow. Well, that's just magical. Do they spawn in? Did someone get parrots in the bats? I think it just spawned in. That's pretty cool. Nice. Didn't realize they had the option to do that like other passive mobs. That's really cool. Well, we are really... I mean, again, so I think we are being real survivors this go around. Good for us. We really learned from last time. But yeah, we have a lot larger of an Obsidian crew this go around, so I think we have some people still trying to figure out kind of the aim of the game here with like spreading out or basing. Basing is definitely the better idea, given the everything about one, being on theme, and two, just the advantage of having shared resources. Good job, team. Good job. God. So the other thing that's different about this time around, that I have added more quote-unquote bosses to deal with before going straight to the dragon, right? So last season the point was 1, slay the an Elder Guardian, 2, oh, we got 14 people, holy shit. 1, slay an Elder Guardian, 2, slay the Wither, which happened with explosive results, 3, slay the dragon. So very simple, very straightforward, you know, that sort of thing. So This go around I added in the Elder Guardian, a woodland mansion, the Wither, a bastion, and the dragon. So that is the situation. So it's a little more to deal with, I would say, than just the standard kind of easy breezy, just 3, and also now it is more of a requirement for people to join in on these so-called field trips instead of just a handful of people going to do it, and making it a little bit more challenging for people who are not super skilled at like PvE and stuff. So it's a little more of a balanced load in a way. Well, that was fast. Okay. Well, that was a not quite pleasant exchange. Well, everyone's just finding diamond, huh? Dear God. So we got horses this away. Oh. That's the other thing everyone has. I'm pretty sure everyone has their theme skins right now. Everyone's a gold name except for the photographer who you saw earlier. But here's my gold skin. Got a nice one there with the sparkly arm. Which I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of this whole thing, is where it's just the... Oh, something's going on over there. Just the finer little details of having... of kind of aiming towards like what you would see usually with like other stuff, like other lore kind of driven series on like for, you know, Minecraft, whatnot. Where you have like the skins that change when stuff happens, and like lore based events and like all this sort of stuff. It's just, I think, just really well like incorporated with this, where it's very much a fan idea. This is very much not official by any means at all. Despite somehow receiving official recognition against all odds. Because this is so that's good to know. But yeah, so I think like when for Achievement Hunter, when the King's AU was like really big, bullshit notwithstanding with certain events, but when that was like the hot shit, you know, you had art, you had fanfics, you had all kinds of creations inspired by and based around a bunch of guys playing Minecraft, you know, like King of the Hill shit. And it was great. It's the perfect culmination of what Minecraft YouTube fans want, right? Which is kind of this little secret where if you have a series that is not full-on lore, right, where it's like not entirely just like scripted and whatnot, it's like it's very flexible, right? But then you just sprinkle in touches of lore, or things that could suggest lore / story, then you are in a gold mine. Examples being, of course, King's AU for Achievement Hunter. Like that shit plus, not Minecraft related, but GTA, that it's just enough of a base and then enough of a whimsical / fantasy / story element to just get creative people really in the mindset of like creating stuff. and it's wonderful. That's one of my favorite parts about the fact that Jeremy is, again, bringing this back. Like, a lot of the fan stuff is what gives a lot of flair to, like, series like this, where you have the art, the creativity elements, the fan fictions, all of that. Even with how silly the kind of base material is, where it's like the original You Dead, that was the base concept for this, where I was like, okay, AH has kind of hit a slump before it officially died, right? It was before AH officially died. I was like, okay, I kind of want to rejuvenate the fan base on Tumblr to kind of touch on what was like really beloved, what was really popular with like the fans, and so I thought to You Dead, because it had the whole, like, in the second season, I believe, the whole you can come back if someone builds the Tower of Pimps. And they had the great thing where they had the whole, oh, you turn into a monster / the opposite of your skin in the case of Kevin. Which, I do appreciate the kind of lore. Again, that's just a tinge of lore. Not needed at all, not relevant at all, but enough to just kind of give something, right? So we had that where it's like just the base idea for stuff. And so I'm like, okay, so we had that. Now that AH is kind of dead, officially. Let me just, again, completely just fan of you, just, nonsense, whatever. So, we have the tower and the lore that the tower can bring people back from the dead, right? That is the lore suggested by You Dead, Season 2. So, now I believe an artist on Tumblr actually, like, inspired the name for it proper. If I can just pull them up. Crazy Great 2 is their side blog for Gmatter. Crazy Great Gamer Person, or Crazy Great 2, TOO. They did fan art of my kind of nonsense AU ramblings to monarchisms, and then they said something, the drawing had something including the Obsidian, or like I think they pitched the name Obsidian in the sketch they made of the kind of concept I had pitched of like the tower and the different blocks representing lives and whatnot. And so that's how the name came about, but the base idea of having, okay, here's the canon, quote-unquote, base. People really liked this general idea, right? So this is, fan stuff, so we can do whatever the fuck we want, where we can pretend there's actually, lore and story and all this shit. So it's like, okay, so we really like this. Let's play into the tower having magical powers. Let's play into the kind of aesthetic of the gold and the obsidian, what it means to kind of hit rock bottom, being the drastic reverse color change from gold to deep dark purple, and what that means, and it kind of plays into the Last Life series. I played to like the last, not that I really watch, I do need to watch the Last Life stuff, the traffic light stuff, traffic life stuff, more given my goddamn brand here. But so that's the concept, right? Where it's like you kind of play on that, where that's kind of the big thing in a different fandom. That's not to say that not to even remotely compare Achievement Hunter to the style of Hermitcraft, because that is a bit of a stretch, obviously. Right? It'd be a bit of a stretch. It'd be a bit of a reach to compare those two. Very different series. But it's combining a currently very popular idea in that kind of side of the MCYT stuff. Again, very different from Achievement Hunter, but bringing it to the, again at the time, very much fan kind of mindset of AH, where it's like, okay, are they gonna go for a limited series where they're gonna try and fight each other to the death? No. That'd be a one-off episode and that'd be that. So it'd be them doing their classic kind of you dead stuff of trying to kill the dragon or whatever. And again, with this, it's more like, okay, because they have multiple lives inherently and they can get these lives back, let's add challenge with like, okay, you have to kill these mobs and whatever. So you have that. Plus their general style of like, okay, we're gonna just explore, we're gonna base together, which is the idea of this. We're not making our own bases and like living in towns and whatnot. No, we're basing together, we're being partners in this. And while there is the kind of red life comparison of when you hit Obsidian, it is encouraged to attack other players because it's fun. And that's a little bit of a, again, more story, more lore, whatever you want to call it, to the concept. But yeah, like, again, when I kind of had this idea for Obsidian as it was, the idea of, okay, so you have the Achievement Hunter, they're not going to do anything crazy, they're not built for that, they are going to do a straightforward mission, but with their usual kind of twists and turns. So they have to deal with having multiple lives. They have the option to get lives back by completing the challenges, I believe they're called, the purple advancements, like how we have that, but purple for like doing kind of rarer, harder stuff. Like that's more in line with them. So when this was still just kind of, you know, shooting the shit, pitching ideas that would not reflect reality, before our photographer actually gave me the idea to actually try and make a server out of this, like, that was the whole point where it's like, okay, Achievement Hunter would just do this for if they had to deal with this concept for you dead, right? They would all go for Return to Sender if they needed to. One of the Joneses would die first. Like that was like the idea of what if this was really like happening as a series, you know? And then oh fuck. And then thankfully Mr. Jeremy Dooley kind of, as we put it, he initiated containment breach because he posted that shit he posted his little tribute video, as it were, on Twitter. The people on Reddit, from what I saw, were taking it very seriously because they had no idea that it was I'm sure they would love that it was a Tumblr-based concept, right? But they had no idea what it was. They thought it was a legitimate pitch till Jeremy explained on stream later that no, it's just him kind of shouting out the fans. And the weirdest thing about that is that I had used kind of a backdrop for the fanskins I made for Gold and Obsidian, like, fanskins, right? Where I did, like, BK, and I did Jeff, and I did Gavin, and all this, you know, everyone was included. So I had built, like, a little platform with, like, 12 towers in a kind of clock-like fashion. And it was only, I think, either hours before or the day before that I had like posted the actual like dimensions, like for monarchisms to rebuild it in Minimator, I believe it's called, but like animation for Minecraft tool, so they could more easily like do like photo shoots in a like thumbnail style, right? So to my surprise, when Jeremy shows the recreation he has, which is very accurate, I don't think he quite picked up on the tricks I did for like the red pits that represent like the red ring of death. as a kind of a throwback to that thing for Xbox controllers and Xboxes themselves. But that's the thing where it's like, I saw that and I was at work and I was like, oh, perfect timing. Okay, great. What do I do with this besides freak the fuck out? Because I've been, our AU breached containment. Like, shit. Well, fuck. And I think at the time it was like there was whisperings of like Trevor was throwing out that he liked the idea and like stuff like that, and then eventually AH died, so it was like, well, never mind. Never mind. But it was such a weird little moment in time where it's like, oh, you got very close to something happening. I don't know what would have happened. Probably nothing anyways, but it felt very, I mean, containment breach sounds negative, right? It was not a bad thing. It's just like, oh, what do we do with this? What do I do about this now? Do I worry about being sued by Rooster Teeth for using their, I assume their, kind of like serious titling? I don't know. I mean, that was just like, just a weird, like, people know this exists now. So we got Obsidian. Hello. We have Obsidian, right? So now what do we do with the other very popular series that has a twinge of lore? Kings. And I was like, okay. So we had Kings, so it's like, okay. So if the issue is that there's so many, that the king themselves has to make a bunch of different, like, games and whatever, and like contingencies for if everyone wins evenly. It's like, okay, so if we have it where, again, this is much more of a hypothetical, you know, of course, but if it's like, okay, every challenger to the crown brings in their own idea of a game, right? So you have at least, like, up to 10-ish, 11-ish different games at minimum. So you have that. And then you add on top, okay, so even if no one wins after all those games, what if it goes to Thunderdome, right? Where either all the one gold pieces can be exchanged as extra lives for the fight. Or it doesn't matter what, you know, whatever. It can be some kind of benefit to those who have been winning so far. It's like, okay, that's great, because it combines Thunderdome, which people, I think, still kind of quote in a way. So you had that, you had a solid contingency, a little boring perhaps, sure, but a viable contingency plan. And I feel like it's not the most unreasonable approach to Kings. Now granted, that's me saying that as someone with zero insider information as to how Achievement Hunter works in any regard, so I might be entirely wrong, and I would expect that to be the case. But it's also like, it seems like a solid enough happy medium compared to the alternative of just no king. Right? So it's like, okay. Having it where each challenger has to bring a challenge of whatever complexity that may be, if it's just kill mob X times, or collect this, or build that, or whatever it is. Or it can be, like, complicated, and be, like, actually make something that's difficult for people to know. But yeah, I mean, I can get more into the nitty-gritty of Obsidian, and I mean, that was when Jeremy kind of brought the stream back and brought AH back into what I will call AWOL for now, unless, I don't know, they rebrand officially as Challenge Finders or whatever. With that being the case, it's like, okay, so he has stopping lists. He threw out Kings, an idea. He threw out other, like, Minecraft games that he can do, like, stuff like that. It's like, okay. So, You Dead is clearly on the docket, right? Like, that's not gonna... That's definitely an option. What do we do? What... I mean, again, granted, he just do his own thing. No issue. But... it is just very funny to me that either option A, him and AH just do You Dead their own way. Pretend, you know, don't treat it like anything else is happening. Again, this is all just fan nonsense. There's no obligation of any kind, right? So one, they just do their own stuff, and then Obsidian just remains Obsidian. It's just hanging out in the corner, like the one meme. They don't know I'm here. Or two, or B rather, or B, I don't know, I guess Obsidian becomes canon in whatever regard. Or they just don't do You Dead, which is possible. I feel like unlikely, given, again, that's like, that's one of the big ones, you know? So, we will see. And that's the other thing with, so that was one of the other things I learned during Jeremy's stream. So apparently, well, one, he has a new skin, which I was unaware of, because for some reason, him and I think Ray and Matt did like a little Minecraft series that I just completely missed for some reason. And he made himself a new skin, which is great, because it's always fun to see kind of how people would interpret themselves or what they would choose to do for skins, if they go realistic or not or whatever. But somehow his skin is fine, I'm not going to comment on that, but his skin is all on the outside layer, which is to say, like the hat, which I can actually show. So if I do, what is it, skin tone section, hat off. Like that's the first layer of my skin, right? And then the rest of the sheet is the outer layer. I don't know how it happened where he made his skin all on the outer layer. Like there is no like simple skin base that I'm aware of that's like that only uses the outer layer. So I don't know if it was like he just kind of freestyled it on making a skin based on like the texture, which again I don't know how you would do, because if you go off like the Steve skin or whatever, it'd still be, what am I doing? It would still be you would not, unless you just drew on the opposite side, and even then you have to do it very specifically to not have it be completely like a mess. You'd have to, so it's like, I don't know what he did or how he did it, if he like did like an app on his phone, which is that's like my only theory, where it's like he did an app on his phone, he just didn't notice, or that's what he did on purpose. Because otherwise there's no explanation as to how he did this, because it's like, okay, it would not be the texture itself, because that just wouldn't work. It would not be, he made the skin, so he was fully in charge of how it happened. So my only thought is like, he did it on accident. Did he do it on accident somehow, where he, like, I don't know how, it's mind-boggling to me. But that's a topic for another time. And to wrap up the first session of this year's this summer's YDYD Obsidian Season 2. Let's stop.